Hey there, welcome back to No Pants Profits and Results Not Typical, the channel this may be on. My name is Richard, also known as Mandy Savvy. You might go, I've heard that name before. Now, if you are involved in NRGY, NRGY, or you are involved in StarStake, which is what we're going to talk about today, I have kind of infiltrated what's going on there, and I was the only one telling the truth. If you're watching this and you are a StarStake member or you are a member of NRGY, ask yourself, there was this person going around named Mandy Savvy telling the truth, and all of a sudden Mandy Savvy gets kicked because it's found out it's me. I've never done anything but told you the truth, and today I have what I consider a very, very, very hard pill for a lot of people that are inside of StarStake and NRGY to swallow. And here it is. You're in a cult. C-U-L-T. You're in a cult. We're going to go over why you're in a cult. But you are in a cult. Plain, simple, nothing different. We're going to watch a whole video while you're in a cult. NRGY and StarStake are DeFi projects. And remember, if you question anything, if you want to say, hey, why was Mandy kicked, even though she never told a single lie, if you question anything, you are called a fudder. You've got leaders. You've got Chris Hawk, who they say is the CEO of StarStake. No, he's not. He's there because Alan Friedland can't be the CEO because of Alan's little... I have to keep doing this. CFTC. Alan's little trouble with the CFTC that he settled with CompCoin. Court is adjourned because they're going to do it, and Alan settled, and part of the settlement said that he can't be involved in any kind of crypto anymore. And guess what? He can't be the head of StarStake anymore. So, you know, if you do take a look back on, let's just go back to YouTube, and we'll just type in StarStake. Alan is the head of StarStake. There is no discussion. Chris is a patsy that Alan put in because Alan could no longer be. Let's just put StarStake Alan, so you can kind of see. Alan is the head of StarStake. There is no discussion.
Hey guys.
He's always been the head of StarStake. And if you look at StarStake, this is StarStake over 2 years ago. And over 2 years ago, it looks exactly like what it looks like now. So they've spent 2 years, they've spent 2 years developing and making things better. It's the same thing overall. I mean, there's a lot more Shang Belmonte in there because that's Chris's wife, but it's the same thing overall, over and over and over. And they say StarStake is a company. This is like the Spider-Man. You've got a whole bunch of people involved. They say StarStake is a company, and it uses Builder as its not Builder. Oh, we'll get to Builder. Uses NRGY as its backbone, which is a decentralized bank. Bullshit. Okay? It's all a cult. These are MLM scammers, multi-level marketing scammers, and unfortunately, a lot of you watching this might be involved in multi-level marketing, because that's kind of who gets suckered into this. But, you know, if we take a look, it's really well designed. Again, I like to go down all the way to the bottom here, click on Overview, and show you why what's happening to the price of the coin right now is happening to the price of the coin right now. Why is it going to 0 right now? Well, let's go to page number 13. Staking NRGY is not risk-free. Well, you can't even unstake if you wanted to, but I did actually explain their unstaking process, or should I say, I did as Mandy explained to them, and also a lot of people are seeing that video now. Hold on. We lost it. I want to read slide 13 to you. 11, 12, 13. Staking NRGY is not risk-free. Rewards are only created when new liquidity is added, meaning if new money doesn't come in, guess what happens? Everything collapses. You know what that's the definition of? Yeah, sorry, I gotta tell you. That is the definition of a Ponzi scheme. When new money stops coming in, let's take a look. Form of fraud that lures investors to pay profits to early investors with funds from more recent investors. Well, what happens when a Ponzi starts to fail? Well, let's take a look at the price of this coin here in the last 180 days. Actually, let's go out to maximum so you can see go up and down and up and down. This is NRGY on Ethereum. Then we've got NRGY on NRGY Goes. This is NRGY on BNB. This is NRGY on Polygon. And you can just see the profitability of all of this is pretty apparent what's going on now. There's no new investors coming in. The cult is broken. And then you've even got energy on Builder, which Builder was another fraud they did. So literally, we're looking at 4 different coins plus a company here that we're talking about from a cult mentality. So you've got, again, energy on Ethereum, energy go on BNB, energy on Polygon, and Builder DeFi. No, hold on. Wasn't showing that. Energy on Ethereum. Again, look at the history. Let's go. We'll go 180 days so you can kind of see. Energy on Ethereum. Energy on Polygon. And we're talking, 90%, not crypto that's falling 60, 50%. Energy on Polygon and Builder coin. It's the same coin by 6 different names. A lot of you might have gotten in at different points in time, but again, you still have one leader. Your leader here is a guy named Alan Friedland. Now, has he been smart enough to get a whole bunch of other leaders under him because he can't be seen as much anymore? Yeah. If you want to talk cult, he's made it so he's done these meetings at 3 in the morning and hasn't recorded them. Yeah, that's part of it too, but here's what I want to do. Y'all know the basis of what's going on. Y'all know this is going down. Y'all know that StarStake has no stars. But what I want to do is I want to really show you a video, and I want to show you how this is a cult. So we're going to watch this video from a YouTube channel called Contigo, which I am going to link below. We are using this with fair use. I've actually reached out to ask this person if I could use this to describe cults before, and he's been perfectly okay as long as I create it. So I'm going to play his video in full. I'm going to stop it at points in time so we can go over and we can talk about how this relates to NRGY, StarStake, Builder Coin, all those other ones like that. So without any further ado, let's talk about why NRGY, StarStake, and NRGY and Builder Coin are a cult.
This video was sponsored by CuriosityStream. Get access to my video streaming service, Nebula, when you sign up for CuriosityStream using the link in the description. When people hear the word cult, a certain image tends to burst into their brain. Brainwashed devotees worshipping a crazed narcissist and willing to sacrifice anything for them. While Jonestown, Heaven's Gate, and the Solar Temple have given cults a violent reputation, most cults tend to keep a much lower profile.
Yes, most cults tend to keep a much lower profile. Again, we're not talking about a cult that's gonna, I'll drink the Kool-Aid. I got a big gold cup here. I'll drink the Kool-Aid all at once. We're talking about a cult that does not let outside ideas in. Like Mandy, they don't want to have a dialogue. They just want to talk FUD. If you say anything against this, if you ask them, hey, look, there was this person named Mandy Savvy. I understand it was Mr. No Pants right here. What did Mandy Savvy say wrong? The cult's not going to tell you what this Mandy Savvy said wrong, because guess what? Mandy Savvy said nothing wrong. This is a race to the bottom to get out now. Nobody's getting out for $400. Nobody's getting out for $100. Nobody's getting out for $10. Once things start selling, this whole thing falls apart. So they're going to delay. And don't worry, Mandy's still there. Mandy has about 15 or 20 accounts that I've been building up inside. And I'll tell you what's kind of funny. If I go, I'll look on my little Surface device right here. If it wants to turn on, there we go. I'll look at my little Surface Folio. You can see NRGY currently has 858 members. And out of those 858 members, 38 of them are still active on the server. The cult is dying. But let's go back to, cults keep a much lower profile.
Cults are everywhere. There's probably a cult in your town, and the tricks they use to lure people in aren't complicated, but rather tried and tested social manipulation tactics that anyone can fall for. So what is a cult? How do they trap people? And how do people end up believing that volcano alien ghosts are living on their bodies? Well, let's find out. A cult can form around anything: politics, religion, business, self-improvement.
Yes, be very clear. Business as well. This is a business cult. It is a corporate cult that we're talking about right now. Even though it's not a company, it's DeFi. You're going to see, if you're in this, you're going to go, oh, crap. It's exactly what's going on in NRGY. It's exactly what's going on in StarStake.
Improvement, therapy, hate, aliens, meditation, YouTube channels, and eco-friendly lifestyles. Cults are not solely religious, and not all new religious movements or unorthodox groups are cults. Cult does not mean religion or group I don't like, but refers to a very specific structure and characteristics. The Symbionese Liberation Army, famous for kidnapping Patty Hearst, was a political cult. Amway is a corporate cult.
Amway is a corporate cult. Now, here's the thing. All of this...
A political cult. Amway...
When we're talking about Amway as a corporate cult, all of these people that are involved here, Alan Friedland, Peter Ohan, Dwayne Noble, also known as Byron Sneeringer, Chris Hawk Jones, Maria Martinelli, Tariq EQML, Christopher Kilpatrick, they're all MLM people. Multi-level marketing, pyramid schemes, essentially. But why multi-level marketing is not illegal is because there's actually a product. Here, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's a pyramid scheme, because guess what? There's not a product. But let's continue on. Again, we're talking about a corporate cult here, but a lot of the same stuff from religious cults and drink the Kool-Aid cults that you know does apply.
Is a corporate cult. And the Children of God, the cult that Joaquin Phoenix was raised in, that's a religious cult. Rastafarianism, Baha'i, Wicca, those are new religious movements, but not cults. They don't deceive people into joining, and they don't demand their followers cut off ties with non-Rastafarian friends and family. It isn't their beliefs that make a cult, it's their authoritarian...
Hey, that seems pretty familiar. You're like, we got the leaders and we've got the followers. If you're used to the Discord for NRGY, looks familiar. The problem is there's a lot less followers nowadays and a lot more leaders. There's like more moderators than normal people that want to chat anymore, because a lot of people have moved on and said, this is dead. D-E-D, dead.
Structure, their deceptive recruitment, and how controlling they are. That's why cults are also called totalist groups, and why they share their structure with totalitarian regimes. Cults aren't about belief, they're about control. And to spot a cult, you just have to look out for these 3 characteristics.
We're looking out for 3 things. So I want you to think about NRGY, I want you to think about StarStake, and I want you to think about these 3 characteristics.
1. A charismatic and authoritarian leader.
Now, back in the day, that charismatic and authoritarian leader was Alan, but Alan doesn't want to be seen much anymore after his settlement with the CFTC. So now you've got Dwayne Noble, aka Byron Sneeringer, and the CEO of StarStake, Chris Hawk Jones, which Mandy knows. It's not the CEO. Alan's in charge. Alan's the money guy, Alan's the idea guy. Chris is at best the chief marketing officer. Yes, I know they want to call Tariq the chief marketing officer, but no, that's what Chris is doing. He's also the husband of Shang Belmonte, the only property that's actually on the website that they have any rights to right now. But moving on.
Cult leaders always have 2 qualities, charisma and authoritarianism. A cult leader needs to have enough confidence, charm, and drive to pull people in.
And that's what Alan and Chris are doing. Chris is saying StarStake is going to be huge. And not Alan. Alan used to do that. Chris is saying StarStake's going to be huge. Dwayne Noble / Byron Sneeringer is saying, oh, NRGY is going to make you hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, if we make $3 billion a month, you're going to make $60,000 a month if you have 25 NRGY.
And they're always narcissists. Cult leaders like Jim Jones, Soko Ashihara, and Marshall Applewhite all fit at least 8 of the 9 criteria for people.
All right, so let's take a look at this now. I think this is kind of really interesting. 8 of the 9 criteria. We're going to turn off the closed captioning real quick, because I want you to take a look at these 8 of the 9 criteria, and I want you to look at what you know about Alan Friedland, about Peter Ohan, about Dwayne Noble, and about Chris Hawk Jones. Grandiose sense of self-importance. Fantasies of unlimited success, power, and I'm going to add in there, money. Believes they are special. Requires excessive admiration. An unreasonable sense of entitlement. Interpersonally expletive. Perfect example. Dwayne Noble, Byron Sneeringer. Fun! They'll pretend empathy, but they really lack empathy, because a lot of people want to get out of NRGY and they're not doing shit. They're not doing shit. Often envious of others and shows arrogant behaviors or attitudes. Seems pretty familiar there, right? Doesn't it? These are the characteristics of the leaders of NRGY and StarStake. It's a cult. But let's move on.
With narcissistic personality disorder. Their charisma and grandiose sense of self-importance attract people. But after that initial charm, their authoritarian nature and lack of empathy creates a culture of fear and terror.
Yes, so you have Dwayne Noble, Infurio brings the light. Byron Sneeringer's got a YouTube channel that says, we've got financial freedom. Dark Horse. I mean, I'm going to open up on my phone some of these titles. Infurio brings the light. Let's read some of the titles of his things, which I find interesting. Don't be distracted. What do dark horses do? The biggest missed opportunity in business. Why the central bank should be very concerning for you. Extremely disruptive technology. The most amazing financial technology. How can you take a calculated risk that you can retire early? If it reads like a cult and it sounds like a cult, it's a cult.
which keeps people in the cult.
The energy that I felt from him put me into a state of almost fear and awe, because when somebody says and starts owning that he may be or kinda is a representative of the kingdom of heaven,
Or financial freedom. Dwayne Byron likes Infurio likes to say he is the representative of financial freedom, and you'll never have to work a day in your life if you invest 25 energy. Okay, cool.
there's kind of a energy that's exchanged between the two people.
He even said energy there. Just say it.
It's like there's a charge that goes on.
2. Thought reform. Coercive persuasion, brainwashing, mind control, whatever you want to call it. It's a process through which people can change the minds and thoughts of other people without them realizing it's happening.
Yep. People hanging on to energy for 2 years and continuing with energy for 2 years and thinking that there's going to actually be a future. And, you know, Alan Friedland saying this was going to launch in May 15th, 2022. And now we are in 2023 and still hasn't launched. So, yeah. Mind control.
Cults, along with other cult-like groups such as terrorist organizations, hate groups, and totalitarian movements, all use thought reform. It even happens in cases of domestic abuse. Thought reform or brainwashing doesn't turn people into zombies or Manchurian candidates. There's no secret drugs or hypnosis going on. It's simply words and group pressures. We'll look
Hey, that's exactly what the Discord group does. When someone objects, everybody piles on. Because the group has been brainwashed to not take objections. So, and we'll get to that a little later on, but the group's been brainwashed to not take objections.
Look at how cults use thought reform to manipulate people in a bit. 3. Exploitation. Once a charismatic leader has indoctrinated a follower through thought reform, they can begin exploiting them economically, psychologically,
Economically, hey, you bought 1 energy, you gotta get 25. Hey, you bought 25 energy, you gotta get to 500. Yeah, the price is going down, and guess what? The price doesn't matter anymore because we're moving on to the next project. You're starting to see where this is going.
politically, or sexually.
He was doing so much in the community, and so why not, rather than just tithe your 20%, why not sell your home? Give the money to the church.
Well, interesting, because that's what Builder Coin was trying to do. Builder, which was operating primarily out in Hawaii, that did have Alan involved, did have Chris involved, had a guy named Sal Alicio involved, had one of my favorite magicians involved, the large Hawaiian magician, who I love. Again, these people are all MLM guys, told people to actually take a home equity out of their house and put it into Builder, and they'd be able to pay off their house instead of in 30 years, in 5 years or 2 years. This is literally what they told people. I have recordings on Builder Coin with them telling them to do this. It's a cult.
And that is what people began to do.
So, how do people end up in cults? Well, people end up in cults or totalist groups in a number of different ways. Many are kidnapped or forcibly enlisted, like the estimated 20,000 children forced into Joseph Kony's Lord's Resistance Army. Once forced into these groups, their charismatic and authoritarian leaders can begin indoctrination. Or you can be born into a cult or totalitarian regime. The children raised in the Children of God cult, or North Korean citizens, didn't choose to be in the cult they're in, but both of them are exposed to the same thought reform processes and authoritarianism. Or you can be recruited into a cult
Via an MLM scheme. Via someone saying, hey, you got to join this, and then you don't know that the person that's saying you got to join this is getting 20% or 15% or 10% or 5% just for you joining. Again, it's got that pyramid scheme nature to it. So be aware.
There's a common stereotype of a typical cult recruit, a seeker, a slightly wacky hippie type, very into hummus and crystals, who went looking for enlightenment, found the cult, and can now assemble a Kalashnikov while doing yoga.
Or, as they say, believing that the entire financial system's broken. I think we should go back and we should watch this real quick, because I think this is going to be useful. I did not plan on doing this. Man, F you. IO brings daily light. I actually have a video I think would be useful if we were to watch it. Searching instead for, let's put an energy. Because this is what's going on. Hold on. I don't have the ENFURIO lightifier. Okay. Because I think this is interesting. You know, what is the NRGY DeFi financial system? Because it's interesting, because this is people's motivations for getting in. So I'm going to sidetrack a little bit. I'm going to play this video. I don't mean to play this video as an endorsement of anything, but I think this will make the cult vision of what's going on a lot stronger.
How is wealth created? And I'm not talking about just making money. I'm talking about real life-changing wealth. Do you know how it's really created? It's created by the movement of money. Let's take a journey back in time.
There were a group of pioneers who wanted something different, to get an abundance out of life. So they got together and went out west. They encountered lots of hardships before settling where they
Trust me, later this is going to become very relevant, because what this is kind of like the religion behind the cult. I think it's important for people to understand the religion behind the cult. So we'll back up a little bit. The group of pioneers journey back in time, because this is their lore. This is their flying spaghetti monster. This is their Jesus. This is their Xenu, which you'll see in a little bit. This is the religion behind what's going on here.
There were a group of pioneers who wanted something different, to get an abundance out of life. So they got together and went out west. They encountered lots of hardships before settling where they wanted to build their community. And instead of just one person benefiting mostly, they decided to do things a little different. So the pioneers pooled their money together and essentially established a bank owned by these pioneers. New members started joining the community. They started businesses that were owned by anybody in the community who wanted.
Yes, this is the story and the lure of NRGY. This is the cult right here. This is their origin story for the cult.
To participate. Together, they developed these businesses to be profitable. A portion of these profits were shared back to the bank owned by the pioneers. More businesses popped up with community members working to develop each one and sharing in the profits of the business they developed. And while the bank, owned by the original pioneers, shared a piece of the profit generated from each business. New community members were given the option to buy.
Yeah, the problem is now there's no more new community members. When you turn off, this is the most important thing. We're not talking about a cult anymore. We're talking about a Ponzi scheme, which this is a Ponzi scheme cult. When you don't have any new members, think of it like a fire. When you have no new oxygen, the fire goes out.
Into the bank owned by the original pioneers, and it became known as the Community Bank. Some of the new members decided to also own a piece of the community bank and paid what seemed like a high price. Other members remained stubborn and chose to only profit with the business they were working to develop. More businesses were developed, and the community bank became even more profitable. The stubborn community members who felt it was too expensive to buy into the community bank before were finally ready to buy in. But when they went back,
Hey, that chart looks really different than the chart of NRGY right now, or NRGY Go, or Builder, or any of these projects. So up and to the right is the right chart, but we're seeing down and to the right.
they were shocked at how much the price went up. The community continued to grow, and more businesses were developed, while the community bank that shared in a piece of the profit from each business continued to grow fatter and fatter. Community members who owned a piece of the community bank reaped the rewards. The stubborn community members who didn't take action to stake their piece in the community bank earlier when they felt the price was too high.
And you can relate this to StarStake. Not to Star. You can relate this to NRGY. You can relate it to StarStake with the Mission Series 1 NFTs and Minter coins, which, sorry, I didn't even mention, are just NRGY Go, but Minter coins, which are going to go up in value, and you're going to double your Minter coins and everything like that. Okay.
We're finally ready to purchase at the much, much higher price now. Finally, everyone was able to enjoy the fruits of the entire community, and the community prospered together, passing their wealth to generations to come.
But there's a problem. Over time, wealth has been diminished from generations by authorities who seek to control them. So today, a new community in cryptocurrency called NRGY has formed, a community poised to energize the world and create wealth for the very pioneers of today. Would you like to be a pioneer and create wealth for your family? NRGY is the cryptocurrency deployed to create wealth for the community
Again, up and to the right, that's not what it's doing. You saw the charts in the beginning of this video.
members who choose to stake it. Decentralized businesses in many sectors are being developed by the NRGY community. These
There's only one right now. It's StarStake, and it hasn't even launched yet. Beware.
decentralized businesses are known as dApps, or decentralized applications. Would you like to earn cash flow from royalty payments? Community members who keep at least 25 NRGY staked can access royalty payments, which is paid as a cash flow to these members in the form of NRGY. This NRGY can be staked to earn additional NRGY or swap for Ethereum or USDC, US dollar coin, through the NRGY liquidity pool that acts much like a decentralized bank. Would you like to own?
Hey, there's no liquidity in the liquidity pool right now. People can't sell because, yeah, they can sell for $10 a coin on the Ethereum side, but they've given away so many free coins and they faked this liquidity so much that you're worth $400 now. I mean, literally, everybody's sitting with their coins with a value of $432, and there's no liquidity to sell it for that. So, yeah, let's watch the rest of this, and then we're going to go back to the cult thing, because I think this is interesting, because I really, when I started this video 27 minutes ago, I didn't think there was a religious component. And we're looking at the religion origin story right now. Is this video right here? This is the religion origin story for NRGY.
Own an asset that not only generates cash flow for you, but also increases in value as the demand rises.
Ooh, there's no demand and it's decreased in value. Sorry, Mr. Safari hat guy. And remember, this is not because the whole crypto market's crashing, because we did in a previous video, it was 3 hours long, where Peter Ohanan said NRGY is completely separate from the rest of the market.
As more and more profitable dApps are developed, the demand for NRGY becomes greater and greater.
Again, another one of those up and to the right charts. It's not what it's doing.
As the demand increases from people wanting to stake NRGY to earn royalty payments and from supply that is tied up when dApp products and services are consumed, the USDC and the NRGY liquidity pool increases.
Well, they have a bit of a liquidity problem right now. Cult's not culting too well.
While the limited supply of NRGY is decreased. This causes the value of NRGY to rise.
This causes the value of NRGY to rise. Does it? Does it? Does it? Does it? Okay. Sure, I guess it does.
Supply of NRGY is extremely limited, while virtually an unlimited amount of USDC can be added to the liquidity pool. In this way, the NRGY liquidity pool acts similar to a decentralized bank owned by the community. As the demand for NRGY becomes greater and greater, the value could skyrocket.
And that's why there's no demand, so the value has gone down. It hasn't skyrocketed, it's tunneled into the earth.
Would you like to also mint NRGY for yourself and for your family? In addition to accessing royalty payments, NRGY stakers get to earn more from the minting of NRGY. NRGY will mint for a period of 100 weeks from February 20th, 2021, which is approximately 2 years.
So it is now week 40 for the past 3 weeks. Why is it? Because people could unstake at week 41. So we got to keep it at week 40 because got to keep the Ponzi going, got to keep the cult mentality going. I'm going to play the rest of this and we're going to go back to the cult video. I think this is going to bring a lot of color to the rest of this video.
While 25 NRGY needs to be staked to earn royalty payments from DApp revenues, any amount of NRGY can be staked to earn in the minting. Minting rewards are earned weekly and can be compounded back into staking. Simply put, the more NRGY you stake, the more NRGY you will earn from minting. The only question left is, are you ready to stake your claim in this new economy? How is wealth?
Yeah, that is the only question, and that is the origin video. That's the cult video. That's where we're going. I hate to go off from the cult video, but I think you need that for the rest of this video to understand what's going on. And I want to let you know that video was used via fair use. I commentated on it, so don't try and copyright or take it down. You have this video on YouTube. I'm commentating on it. It's fair use to show the video. Just wanted to point that out.
But study after study has discovered that there is no personality profile for your typical terrorist or cult recruit. Any of us could become vulnerable given the right conditions, the right group, and the right time. Major life changes such as a recent move, a breakup, a death in the family, career shift, war.
Yep, they always try and get you there. So life changes. That's why a lot of people come into these crypto cults. That's really why a lot of people come into these crypto cults.
Natural disaster, or a global pandemic.
Oh. A global pandemic. Who would have thunk of that one?
Can leave someone isolated from their usual support structures. During these times, we all tend to look for friends, are more open to strangers, and are more willing to accept things we normally wouldn't.
Discord communities, StarStake, Star Hub, it's the same thing. It's these communities. It's building these community supports, which are really cults in nature.
Usually, it's the cults that go out and look for followers. And cults recruit everywhere. Lectures, seminars, retreats, going door to door.
YouTube, having people that are already in, have a reward for bringing new people in. Yeah, that's a cult.
They run schools, businesses, political groups, meditation and yoga classes, weight loss programs, and therapy clinics. Most cults even have front groups set up to appeal to a wide range of interests.
StarStake. Your front group to get people in now is StarStake, because it's a pretty website and everything like that. That's what it is. StarStake is your front group. Sorry for saying this part quietly, but I have to say it. StarStake is the front group. NRGY is what's really going on in the back.
The Unification Church, commonly known as the Moonies, have hundreds of front groups, including academic and professional groups, dozens of businesses, and media such as the New World Encyclopedia and the Washington Times. The Church of Scientology has front groups like Sterling Management, who do corporate training, or the Narconon Drug Rehabilitation Program, or, hilariously, the Cult Awareness Network is also a Scientology front group. Cults are always deceptive during recruitment.
Cults are always deceptive during recruitment. Go back and watch any of Dwayne's Infurio Brings the Light videos or any of his normal Saturday meetings, and you'll see he's going to say, literally, oh, it might not be this way, but we're going to make $3 billion a month, and that's $60,000 to every person who stakes 25 or more NRGY. Think about that when you watch this.
New recruits will interact with a front group unaware that it's related to a cult. There is never any mention of galactic overlords, celibacy, polygamy, suicide missions, 20-hour workdays, or forced marriages. That all comes much later. For now, it's just a group interested in bettering themselves and the world through mindfulness or new biblical interpretations or a public speaking workshop. Nothing to worry
Or building D-apps to make them millionaires.
about. The Unification Church calls this heavenly deception. Other Bible-based cults call it giving milk before meat. It's okay to lie to new recruits because, in the end, it's for their own good.
It's okay to lie to new recruits because in the end, it's for their own good. Take that as you'd like.
Once within reach, the new recruit will be love-bombed. Love bombing is a tactic in which cult members smother new recruits with flattery, praise, and affection. Love bombing is extremely effective on anyone, but
If you've watched when people come into the Discord, when they come into StarHub, when they say something, they get love bombed.
Especially so on people who already feel isolated and ignored. New recruits will gradually find their free time filled with group classes, meetings, dinners, and retreats.
Perfect example. You remember, those of you watching, Alan Friedland, the CFTC guy who's not supposed to be in crypto or any of these things anymore, has meetings at 9 o'clock Eastern time, which is 3 o'clock in the morning in Europe. Well, he won't record them. Now, this channel has them recorded, so you're welcome to watch them, but he won't record them. So when it comes out, this is what they're doing. They're keeping people up till all hours of the night to tire them out and let them make poor decisions. But I'm getting ahead of the video.
Recruits' lives are swallowed up by the group. Their entire day is filled with cult-related work assignments, studying, lectures, meditating, chanting, etc., etc. This has
Hey, I've seen chanting in Byron/Dwayne Noble's presentations before.
the added benefit of keeping the recruit awake for long periods, which affects their critical thinking abilities and simply leaves them with no time to reflect on what's actually happening.
You're constantly up, you're constantly busy, and you're made to feel guilty if you take too many luxuries like sleeping. You tend to not really think for yourself, and I did allow Jones to think for me.
Yep. Especially in the Discord group that you've got for NRGY, people can't think for themselves. They get called fudders if they think for themselves, if they ask questions. Dwayne Noble, Byron Sneeringer, he's the leader of that sect of the cult. And if you question stars or anything like that, Chris will bite your head off in StarStake.
Many cults will then begin to pressure new members to leave their family, friends, and jobs.
So here's a little bit different. They want to grow this cult. This cult is all about growing, so they want you to get your family in. But if your family does object, then instead they will tell you to shun your family that's objecting. So it's a little bit different, but I do want to play this whole video through.
Free Domain Radio is an internet-based cult led by self-proclaimed philosopher Stefan Molyneux, known for its practice of encouraging its new recruits to defoo, to reject their family of origin. This isolation tactic is
Now that's similar to FUD or spreading FUD, in the NRGY and StarStake side of things.
common in cults to force a recruit to become dependent on the group. Removing family removes a fundamental source of emotional and financial support for people.
Yeah, that's important. And, your family members, if you tell some of your family members you're in this, they're going to say, oh no, that's a way to lose money. It's a scheme.
And an important source of reality checking. Romantic relationships and friendships must also be scrutinized even within the group. This is why many cults practice either celibacy or polygamy, because it stops people from forming a close romantic bond with just one person. The only relationship they can have must be with the entire group or
Now, not in a relationship side, but the only relationship they can have must be with the entire group or the leader. That is exactly what is going on in both the StarStake and NRGY cults.
the leader. To replace families, many cult leaders take on familial ties. David Berg, head of the Children of God, was known as Dad or Grandpa. Elizabeth Clare, prophet of the Church Universal and Triumphant, was Mother. And Paul Pot, leader of the Khmer Rouge, was known as Brother Number 1.
And that's why they have Alan as kind of mysterious godlike figure here.
Many cults encourage confessing traumas either to the whole cult or with an assigned member.
Before I came here, I was taking LSD, marijuana, every type of dope you can imagine. Without our Pastor Jim Jones to teach me the right way, I would not be in college right now.
The cult will usually lead the recruit to exaggerate or even misremember their pasts.
Misremember their past investments. Misremember they've lost money in crypto before, because guess what? This is different. This is so different. That's what they're going to say. This is a surefire thing. This is the future. This is everything like that, is what they spout out. Trust me, Mandy tried to warn everybody. Mandy told everyone the truth. Mandy didn't lie to anybody. If you're watching this, go back and say, what did Mandy Savvy lie about? Nothing. There are no stars in StarStake. NRGY's headed towards 0.0000001.
Negatively. This causes guilt and anxiety about their former personal connections and past. They were bad people before they joined the group, and the group
Yep, they were going to be poor before they joined the group. Now the group has the community bank. Again, we watch the origin story so you understand what's going on here.
Is the only way they can become better people.
In my last lifetime, I lived during World War II, and I was a French prostitute that I had taken up with a German officer just to protect my butt. The French resistance found out about me, and they threw me and all my belongings out in the street. And the mob that mobbed me and shaved my head there is the reason why I'm so afraid of crowds now.
The group.
Yep. Now, they're not talking about French prostitutes and Nazis here, but what they're talking about is people have been held down so much by the man that the financial freedom of the community bank is what's going to really create I mean, you saw the lure, you saw all that with the community bank and joining the community bank. That's the story, that's the trauma they're putting people through. They're using the trauma of people being poor and not having money as the trauma in someone's past, and then using that to trick them into joining something that is a cult.
Will position itself as the only sanctuary in which these feelings can be expressed. So now the follower will seek more comfort from the group, even though it's the group that's causing their discomfort.
The follower will seek more comfort from the group, even though it's the group that's causing the discomfort. What does that mean? Well, as the price of energy has gone down, there's been more and more activity in the group saying, why is the price going down? And the group says, hold on, hold on. And they've even done so much as a pivot to say, the price doesn't matter anymore. What matters are the royalties, not the price. Why? Because we got to move on to the next scam. We're already 5 scams deep. The 5th scam has failed. So we got to move on to the NFT scam, where the NFT doesn't really have any value unless we say it does. So it can't be tracked or anything like that. That's what's really going on here, is that.
Everyone is constantly confessing things to the cult. Sharing anything to one member of the cult means sharing it to everyone.
Yep, that's what happened to Mandy Savvy. Mandy Savvy picked a Canadian member of the cult. Now, how do I know it's a Canadian member of the cult? It's because in the top left corner they have a Canadian cell phone signal. Told him the truth. Mandy Savvy never told anything but the truth. What's interesting is when Byron/Dwayne Noble exposed that truth, he cut out some things. Like his real name, like what's really going to happen to the project. But thank you for letting people know, No Pants Profits. I do want to let you know that these videos, thanks to you, Byron Sneeringer, Dwayne Noble, these videos have gotten significantly more traction since Mandy's been kicked from the group. I know that's really weird to say, but more and more people have found this since you've kicked Mandy from the group, especially the one that I made about unstaking your coins, which is not something that's Alan Friedland, the prophet, says it's going to happen in days. It's already been a week. Yeah, it's been a week now since he said that, and we're now into week. Again, days doesn't fail until next Monday, but you should have been able to unstake in days, not weeks. So you got 6 more days before it turns into weeks, because 14 days is 2 weeks.
So privacy does not exist. They cannot share doubts or complaints or tell anyone if they are being abused.
Yep, that's called FUD. If you know anything, they'll say you're spreading FUD. No, you're spreading truth. You're asking valid questions.
The lack of free time, the sleep deprivation, and the complete destruction of individuality mean.
Because remember, we only succeed as a community. There's no individuals. We only succeed as a community. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Means that there is no time for self-reflection. Recruits suffer from a triple isolation, from friends and family, from other cult members, and from their own mind.
And I'm not going to lie, when Mandy Savvy was in the group, Mandy Savvy was in the group all the time, and it really took an emotional toll on me and on my family interactions, and I'm not even cheering for this thing. I was just telling people the truth for about 2 weeks, but it really distracted a lot of what was going on. So I was kind of a member of the cult here, and this is not my first rodeo. When I did this the first time, I've broken up 6 of these things so far. And when I did this for the first time, I realized it was a cult. It came to my realization when I said, shit, just fighting this cult, I'm in a cult. I want you to be very clear. There's no monetization of this video. There's no money that I'm getting from this. I'm doing this to potentially save one person.
As the follower grows more isolated, they begin to rely on approval from the cult, and this is where human weakness to peer pressure can be used against them. Even
That's happened in the group multiple times.
when a cult member has doubts, they are made to feel that they are wrong. When they look around, they see only happy, believing followers. No one expresses any doubt, and so when a follower feels doubt, they feel alone and wrong. It is
StarStake is going to make people millionaires, they say. billionaires. It's going to make people so much money. So take all the money you have and let's correct it because we're going down and to the right. We need to go up and to the right. So if you have a doubt, you're a fudder, you're a liar, you're not a member of the community. This reads just like a cult. If you're in it already, you know. If you're not, I'm telling you this is the truth. And if anybody's in it and wants to comment below and say, oh, holy shit, Richard's right here, which I am, please do.
It's them that must work harder to understand the group. The group or the leader is never wrong.
I'd look around and I'd say, am I the only one that feels this way? I learned eventually not to say anything to anyone.
Yep. A lot of people in that group are looking around and saying, am I the only one that feels this way? Week 40's been over for 2 weeks and I still can't take my coins out. No, you're not. Most people have just given up and moved on and realized their money's gone. If you're questioning, then you should question. That's the important thing. Questioning is normal. Questioning is logical. Questioning is what you have to do.
In a cult, you are rewarded for good behavior with praise and privileges. But those that...
Mandy was almost a moderator for helping out in the group for 2 weeks. Literally, Mandy was almost made a moderator. It was offered by other moderators to become a moderator. So I was rewarded inside the group. Textbook cult right here.
that behave in the wrong way are shunned and punished. So as the cult is isolating you from your ordinary reality, they provide you with a new and unanimously approved worldview. Now an all or nothing point of view begins to be preached to them. They teach that every single...
See that guy right there on the left? That's Byron pulling away any doubts. Byron Dwayne Noel pulling away any doubts in this new biggest project ever. Or Chris saying that there's actually stars here.
Word of the ideology is completely true, or none of it is. If you have any doubts, you will be excluded and you will suffer.
Mandy! And just FYI, when you dox someone, let's talk about this. They doxed my real name, didn't get my address right. That's an old address I lived at. If anybody were to touch Mandy, Byron, Sneeringer, Alan Friedland, Chris Hawk Jones, everybody involved with there would be charged with RICO or organized crime. Because by doxing somebody, you put a target on their back, even though, good luck, that address is not valid anymore. But when you dox somebody, you put a target on their back. When you are a leader in an organization and you put a target on someone's back, that is considered organized crime or RICO violations. If I am touched, if I am threatened, if I am anything, all of the leaders of this project are going down, just as well as the person who actually does something against me. So thank you very much for doxing, and I have provided that documentation to the relative authorities, just so you know.
The way that these ideas are told also matters. Every cult or totalitarian system has its own loaded language. Scientology, for example, uses terms like reactive mind, suppressive person.
Yep, my name on Facebook, actually, before it was Richard No Pants Prophets, it was Richard Appleguy Suppressive Person. When you break down a cult, you are labeled as a suppressive person because you can't tell the other narrative from the leaders. Even though your narrative's true, you can't tell the other narrative than the leaders are telling.
And case gain. Loaded language prevents followers from expressing anything outside the cult's ideology.
Yep, if you don't use that loaded language, if you don't talk about the future and Furio brings the light and D-apps and everything like that, then you are a fudder, and loaded language prevents followers from expressing anything outside of the cult's ideology.
New, vague words that can stand for anything are used without the things themselves actually being discussed.
Let's talk about star drops. Now, royalties, and royalties was another word for dividends in the stock market. But we don't want to piss off the SEC by calling it a dividend. So now royalties are going to be put inside of an NFT. The coins aren't going to matter, and you're not going to get royalties. You're going to get star drops because we make up names. Actually, I'm going to rewind that just a little bit because I want you to listen to that when we talk about star drops.
Loaded language prevents followers from expressing anything outside the cult's ideology. New, vague words that can stand for anything are used without the things themselves actually being discussed. Why listen to your family telling you you're in a cult when they're suppressive people and you...
Yep. If anybody's telling you, if Mandy's coming in and telling you this is a cult, I never even said this was a cult, I said it was a Ponzi scheme, because it's both a cult and a Ponzi scheme, but this is Mandy's ability to tell you it's a cult. Yeah, that's what it is.
You know suppressive people shouldn't be listened to. All kinds of horrible names are given to non-cult members. systemites, unclean, or satanic, for example.
Or fudders, or all the things that Mandy was called when Mandy was kicked out. I'm gonna show you the door, Byron Sneeringer says. Please, show me the door, send your friends, and we'll get some RICO charges going.
This creates an us versus them mindset. Now any criticism of the cult is seen as an attack. You are in the cult or you are an enemy. There is no in between. Now their whole existence is the group. If they leave, they are nothing. And joining the outside world is seen as a very dangerous idea. Many cults preach that anyone that leaves will
be poor forever. You don't want to leave this because this is such an opportunity. And I mean, if you look how this is positioned, their exit scheme, you'll be able to sell your coins for pennies on the dollar, 97% discount of what it's listed for. But you don't want to leave, because if you leave, you're going to miss out on everything. I mean, I'm going to rewind this again because I want you to hear this. If you leave, you're going to miss out on everything. The outside world, selling your coins, you're going to miss out on all of it.
Leave, they are nothing. And joining the outside world is seen as a very dangerous idea. Many cults preach that anyone that leaves will probably die or be living on the streets in no time. Here, the cult's control becomes total, allowing no other beliefs and no other affiliations. This is why cults are called totalist groups. They consume every aspect of the follower's life. While an average Christian, Buddhist or Muslim can enjoy astrology, attend yoga classes, and like and subscribe to the Cogito YouTube channel, someone this far into a cult has nothing outside of it. All activities, relationships, and beliefs revolve around the cult. The deeper you go towards the center of the cult, the more distant from reality you start to become.
Yep, this doesn't matter. The price doesn't matter. The royalties are going to make everything. Reality doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. You're going to take all this, you're going to actually buy everything in energy in the future. Come on, it's a cult, guys. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
The beliefs revealed to the inner circles of the cult are sometimes so extreme that the outer circles must be protected from it until they are ready.
So what is that? Well, that's the stars in StarStake. Other than Shane Belmonte, Ian Beckles, and some local Tampa artists, we don't know anybody else. And what's so funny is Ian Beckles admitting he has no clue about technology. There was a video that came out, which was from a StarStake competition that happened a few days ago, and Ian Beckles says he has no clue about technology. And I guarantee you, he's going to launch one of those NFTs. All they've got is a couple retired NFL players going to be on StarStake. But you can't know, unless you're high enough in the cult, you can't know the real stars they have. You know why? Because they don't have any.
For example, in Scientology, the public and new recruits were protected from the most extreme ideas, like that of the dictator of the Galactic Confederacy, Xenu.
Yep, that's also the #1 person that's going to be on StarStake, which is Shang Belmonte, which, if you look, she was popular about 8 years ago in the Philippines, and she's just fallen off a cliff in popularity.
And of alien souls bursting forth from volcanoes and jumping onto human bodies. The public only found out about this story after it was leaked by ex-cult members, journalists, and the internet.
That's what I am. I'm a journalist. I'm the internet. Telling you the truth here. I don't want you to throw more money into this. I'll tell you what has been very nice is I haven't seen any new money staked in a while. I haven't seen people pulling out because they can't, because it's still week 40 of 43, 44 by now. But I haven't seen any new money come in. So that's great. Everything I've seen activity-wise has been a sell. And yeah, people are selling for 3% of what they bought for. So yeah, there's free coins, there's changes and stuff like that, but they're selling for essentially 3% of what they think they can sell for.
Once a follower has reached a stage where the cult's ideology has totally consumed them, they'll believe and do anything. Followers can now be exploited and deployed.
Yep, followers can now bring in new followers, which is not happening now, because down and to the right is not showing that new followers are coming in.
In most cases, cult members end up losing a few years of their lives, going broke, or ending up with too many supplement pills that they can't sell. But cults can take an unfortunately dangerous route sometimes, which is why it's important to spot a cult's characteristics and
Yep, we've got exploitation, charismatic and authoritarian leader, and thought reform. You've seen, I've played in here the cult's idea that the community bank has to win. You've got your leaders. You've got Chris Hawk, who's very charismatic, great chief marketing officer over at StarStake. Alan is the CEO at StarStake, also the chairman of the board, also funding everything. How this is all being funded is a big thing in the air too, and why Alan is still running this and still funding this when he hasn't paid back his settlement. Well, here's the real reason why. I want to give you a little bit of the book that I'm writing. Yeah, I'm writing a book on this right now, which is really more of a screenplay. Believe it or not, all these people that are sitting and running this, the other charismatic leaders, the other cult leaders inside of here, are actually indebted to Alan from his last scheme. So this is actually an indentured servitude for Dwayne, for Chris, for a lot of the other ones involved. They're trying to get their money back from when Alan scammed them before, because Alan's never going to pay it back.
And the methods they use to isolate and control people. And that's a basic introduction to cults. It isn't even close to covering everything. There's a lot of debate around this topic. One video simply can't cover everything. This was just a primer so that when we start making videos about specific cults, you'll know what we're talking about. Cults can be very dangerous and should always be avoided. So instead of joining a cult, why not join CuriosityStream?
All right, we're not going to listen to his whole Curiosity Stream app, but that's the thing. Understand, I've shown you their lore, their community bank, and we've gone through this. It's a cult. Why am I making this? I'll put it like this. I'm not putting this on the main No Pants Profits channel, because I don't want anybody to say I'm making money from it, because guess what? I'm not. This is on a non-monetized channel that's got 19 subscribers. But I want people to see this, and if this video, this 56-minute video, helps a single person, then I'm successful. If you need any help, leave a message in the comments below. If you don't want to leave a message in the comments below, nopantsprofits@gmail.com. I think I've done a pretty good case proving what this is. If you don't think if you want to disagree and say this isn't a cult, leave it below. But that's my feelings. I've broken down why I believe it's a cult and everything like that. And if you're inside of it, yeah, you know it's a cult. I do have a 3-hour video that goes over why it's a cult, and you can listen to the cult language and other stuff like that. I will link that at the end of this video. If you do have any questions, nopantsprofits@gmail.com if you want them privately. And if you're okay asking them in public, leave them in the comments below, and I'll answer them. This is Richard from No Pants Profits, and my newer channel, which takes down scammers, especially in the, how they always put that little asterisk that says, results not typical. That's the point of this channel, is to go over things that are results not typical. Reminding you that, hey, when you wear no pants in a cult, well, probably not wearing pants anyway, and it's a Spider-Man cult where everybody's pointing at and blaming each other for failures, you've only got one thing left to lose. And I think y'all know what that is. It's your shirt. This is Mandy. Look. Mandy. Richard from No Pants Profits. Hoping that you don't get involved anymore in this cult. Wishing you a good one. And remember, don't lose your shirt. Bye!